Hi, Professor Johnson. This is Michelle Lucraft. I try every once in a while to do a video. I'm not super comfortable with them, but I at least try to do one per class. So I thought this week, since it was about emotions and the way we express them, that it would be perfect to try to put my face on this assignment. So with that being said, I just also wanted to add a quick note about the TED Talk by Nadine Burke-Harris. I really thought that was an interesting presentation on how childhood trauma affects health across a lifetime. And I really took the time to think about my health and like the fact that I have asthma and somehow some of the childhood trauma I had and how that affected my health. And then I actually took the time to actually think about my children and how it seems like they may have a biological like disposition for asthma, but it was something that none of them have any. They sometimes have seasonal allergies or whatever, but we were able to like work through them not even using any medication for it. And myself now, as an adult, the more that I work towards it, I used to be on a lot of medications as a child, but I've worked it down to just one inhaler, which I just thought that was pretty interesting. Just something that I was thinking about this week. So, emotions are an everyday part of human interaction. Many people confuse feelings with emotions, but they're actually different. Feelings are only part of emotions. The emotions are our reaction, our response to the feelings that we're having. I think that people are biologically programmed to I know there's something in us that makes us scan our surroundings, and if something seems unsafe or unsure, then we need to act. And emotions help us do this by responding to our environment. Throughout my life, I have had some episodes of an emotional episode that I later regretted. I've been disappointed with the way that I've handled things sometimes, which disappointment would be a self-conscious emotion. And I might be making myself sound a bit worse than I am, but I tend to be hard on myself. I've never gotten so emotional that I've ever physically hurt anybody or their property or anything like that. But I have said things that have really been emotionally harmful to people. So typically, I think that when I have a bubbly personality and I'm usually smiling a lot, so people tend to tell me a lot of their problems, or they feel comfortable with me, I've been told. And this assignment came at a really weird time because I'm having some problems with my mother, currently arguing with her. And I think what happens when I have an emotional episode, it's because I feel like a form of injustice has been done to me. So it's typically either, I don't really have a lot of problems with friends per se or whatever, but it tends to be my mom mostly. Sometimes a coworker that I feel like maybe taking advantage of me by putting more work on me. I am a hard worker and I tend to go above and beyond for others, and I encourage other people to keep working hard, but I sometimes feel like I don't get that same courtesy. So a few things happen. Either coworkers tend to have, interaction where they're talking about each other behind the back, or complaining all the time, and I try not to take that home with me or whatever, but I think that I must be real upon doing this assignment. I started reflecting, thinking that I must be keeping a mental like score chart or whatever of how much somebody annoys me, and I try to brush it off during the thing, but then something happens and I'm either tired or I've been working very hard on my goals and tasks, and then a particular person that might be annoying me starts complaining. And I try to be calm usually, but sometimes something happens and I'll start by being snippy, and usually the person is really shocked by this because I have usually it's very out of my character to be snippy, so they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I suddenly feel like I was a doormat, and I wonder, how did I let myself get to this level? And I usually get angry and sad all at once, and I usually blast the person for all the remarks that they either said, and I usually call it seeing red. And I looked this up. It it's a phrase, is for a term that to become extremely angry, and it may be because the color red is linked to anger or blood, and some people believe it's associated with the red cloth they use in a bullfight, but that is something that I definitely, maybe I become a bull and I just charge at the person. And unfortunately, sometimes this behavior has been strangely rewarded, not necessarily from the person that I blast, but those around me are finally like, yeah, I'm glad finally someone said something. But in my case, I feel like that it was inappropriate, how I handled the situation. So this may also be what I call seeing red, may also be like the point of no return. Like, once I get this state of emotion, it's hard for me to return to homeostasis. Um, and I finally feel triggered, and people are already that they've already seen my real side, so I just go for it, and I'm not consciously thinking that while I'm doing it, but it's perhaps what is, going on subconsciously. So I believe in the moment I probably feel like, oh, I've already ruined my bubbly persona, so why not let them have it? So in more recent years, I've gained some more self-control, but I believe there's always room for self-improvement. I've tried to address problems when they arise, and I don't let them build up to that state. I also I daily practice prayer and meditation, and I think it helps me put things in a different perspective when I'm able to just look at, that I believe in a higher power, God, and I just try to, see that maybe people don't have that, or maybe there's something going on in their life that I don't know about. And I just try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I also believe that I have to take really good care of my body, because if I'm not feeling good, then I notice that I'm not able to um, control or handle my emotions as well as I am able when I'm, feeling well, or I've gotten enough rest, things like that. Another thing that I've learned to improve on handling my emotions is I'm learning to say no more. If I just don't have the time, I need to admit that to myself and to others. And I also want to add that there's like 7 basic emotions: joy, surprise, contempt, sadness, anger, disgust, and fear. And these displays of emotion are universal, but they may vary, also depending on the situation. Um, Cultural display rules: Americans tend to be more expressive than some other countries. The Japanese are much better at masking these, and the way we express them kind of changes that. And I even think, though, even within our American culture, that just individuals have different ways of either de-amplifying or amplifying um, their feelings and their emotions. And also, we just need to learn to take, cues. I think sometimes we end up being very subtle in our displays, and either people aren't understanding our subtleness, so then we have to be even more expressive. And I think that's an individual basis. And I think that once you learn to deal with more, like interact with more people, then your understanding those cues would become more fluid and I think easier for the person. I think that's all I had. Hopefully I did a good enough job, and I'm really enjoying the class. And thank you very much.